Hello and welcome to the Navy Blue Corner. I'm Ian, joined as always by my good mate Lockie. And the Blues, mate, we're currently undefeated. Hopefully we can continue this run with a win over GWS. Look, we're here to preview and build up our clash against the Giants. So Lockie, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into this. Obviously, we want the win. Take that out of it. Get that out of the way. We know what's going to happen. But what else do you want to see from this game? Are there any little storylines that you're hoping when we sit here in our match review, going through it, that you're going, yes, these things happened, little things that you're hoping to see throughout this contest?
I mean, for sure, I have some little things. I'm going to start with a big thing though. If you don't,
oh yeah,
sorry to throw off your run sheet here, which you've actually shared a little bit with me this week.
Not the whole thing. I haven't given you all the details. Just a little glimpse this week.
I didn't know that's what I was getting. I guess for me, regardless of the result, I want us to be sitting here next week going, okay, round 2 was the norm. That was the team that we're getting this season, not round 1. Like, I feel like we could, no disrespect to the Giants, but maybe we could do a bit more of a round 1 performance and maybe come away with the win. And we're not going to be happy about that.
Yeah. No, we're in a bit of a tricky spot, I suppose. Maybe not tricky is the word, but we've given two different performances. Haven't lost either, which is great. But you're kind of going, okay, you don't want to go too hard on the round 1. Don't want to go too big on the round 2. What is the real Carlton? Or are we just somewhere in between that? You're hoping we can back it up. And that was really my sort of number one point as well. I kind of like you. I just want to be sitting here after the GWS game thinking, yep, cool. We are a good team. It's all sorted. We saw that progression, things to keep getting excited about. And one of those big ones for me is, and I guess it's part of what we saw last week, I want the forward pressure to be up. I want
it's good
to see that one more time. I want it to be the staple of us going forward. And with that, I think I want to have high inside 50 tackles. I think that might be a good number for it. Because while they've brought the pressure higher up the ground, and maybe that's a bit more of our game style, winning the ball up higher and then delivering it inside 50. But still, there's been a bit of an element, maybe negatively, where when the ball's gone in, it still can get moved out a little bit too easy. I don't think there's a lot of forward 50 stoppages. And look, last week we only had 5 inside 50 tackles. Week before we had 11. So maybe just keep bringing that forward pressure. You're doing it higher up. But if we can get that number back up to 10 plus, I think we're in for a really good contest, because that was in a bad performance where we didn't think the pressure was up. Imagine if they can do it again and just keep topping what they're doing. More goals for the small forwards. That's probably what I want to see this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think a lot of the things I'm thinking about this week are like the questions that we felt got answered last week. Are they actually like for real? And like to that point about pressure, like having the 3 genuine small forwards, like, is that going to be like, we weren't sure about that. About them running with that. It worked so well last week. If it's going to work moving forward, they're going to have to keep kicking goals, and they're going to have to keep doing the pressure, like you say.
Yeah, I guess what else are you kind of looking for? You've hit me with the big one, but what are the little things?
Little things, I guess. Again, thinking back to what were the big things that we felt like were answered. I think the rucks is a big one.
Yeah,
like I'd love to see another strong TDK game, but also Pitt going to the next level again as he starts to get more fitness and confidence back after a while out. I'm a firm believer that it can work, and was preaching it through the off season. So yeah, I'm hopeful that we see a strong performance from them both again, and we can keep moving with the double.
No, it's a good one. And I think we saw glimpses, and it's still obviously a work in progress. But if we can keep seeing De Koning add to that tackle pressure around the ground, start taking those marks, helping out there, that's going to be exciting. And it was Pitt's only first game back. He was late in, if you can call it that as well. Will be interesting to see if another week, his body getting that little bit better, what that dynamic looks like. And if we can continue to answer the questions that we have of, okay, what's the ruck situation? What's this position look like as we start into this season? It's going to hold us in good stead moving forward. And maybe one of those, it's someone that's had maybe a bit of a shaky start to this season. Hasn't been bad by any stretch, but we've probably wanted a bit more from him. And I think what I'm wanting out of this game, I want Mitch McGovern out of this game. We're going, mate. He's in the votes. He was dominant in the air,
Love that.
distributing it well. Back up to like, oh, this guy, let's get him in my hot take prediction at the start of this season. Get him in that All-Australian conversation. His marking hasn't necessarily been there or at all the times. I think in those first 2 games, kicking, he's made a couple of mistakes here or there. So just a complete performance from him. The other defenders have done really well. Let's make sure that it's not having to get to Lewis Young. It's not having to get to Weeders because Gov's taking those intercept marks and getting back to what we saw probably against Richmond Doggies first 2 rounds last year, where it's like, oh my God, where is this man been? He's our distributor.
And then injured.
Yeah. So hopefully not that. But do you have any other ones for me?
That builds on like my final big one, I guess. It's like thinking about GWS and what could the storyline be for like the big win? For me, it's like our backline dominance. So, Toby's kicked 8 in the first 2 rounds. Hogan's kicked 6. Like, let's just completely shut them down and have it that, it's limited inside 50s already, but when they're going in, we're just all over them. And it is a big McGovern thing. Like you said, it's going to be Weeders and Young doing exactly what they have been. We'll talk about Toby Green a bit later, I'm sure. That for me, it's like, that's an obvious spot where if we just dominate that, easy.
No, I love that. And one of my other ones is probably my last one. I'm kind of going to save it a little bit because it works into another question we have later, which you're kind of touching on now. So while I'd love to go for it early, I love to save these little gems that we have. But look, before we get going into this even more, I've just got to say, Lockie, we've got a couple of quick little announcements, a couple of fun things. Firstly, I don't have to hassle anyone about merch anymore for maybe the next couple of weeks anyway, because we've sold out. So big thank you to everyone who's grabbed a T-shirt. We hope you've enjoyed them. You love wearing them, whether it's at the game, at home, whatever you're doing with it, framing it, getting it signed, whatever you want. But no, it's great to see it sold out. Great to see that you guys are supporting us. We love it. And hopefully we can get some more merch out throughout this year. So if you listen to this on YouTube, drop it in the comments. If you're in streaming services, get onto the socials at Navy Blue Corner. Hit us up. Let us know what you want to see. Is it hoodies? Is it hats? We've had a suggestion of bobbleheads from the great Timmy Dub, which oh my God, don't tempt us. Don't tempt us with that one. If you have any merch ideas, if you have any ideas for us, things that you want, you guys will be the ones that will hopefully be purchasing them. So we want to hear from you and go towards your needs. And the other announcement, which Lockie, you may not be aware of this one.
Well, I don't have the run sheet. Let's make sure that's clear.
Let's make that definitely clear. I'm running the ship. But it is that we have hit, mate, 500 YouTube subscribers, which is absolutely great way to start the season. 2 rounds in.
Where's the confetti?
Where's the poppers? I'm out. I don't have the party poppers at the moment.
The once off.
Well, maybe we'll edit that clip in. I know you loved it so much. But, I mean, massive. That's so huge. So if you are watching this on YouTube right now and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? If you're enjoying the content,
take a good hard look at yourself, actually.
If you want to stay up to date, hit the subscribe button and it'll be in your subscription feed. You don't have to go searching every week. Carlton versus who we play this week. I'm after these blue corner fellas. Don't worry about it. It's in your feed every single time. But yes, so that's huge. We'd love to keep that climbing this season, see how high we can get in the subs count. And if you listen to this on your streaming service and you've got a YouTube account, mate, I don't even need the listen or the view on YouTube. It'd be lovely. But just go over there, send us a little bit of a subscribe because it helps the channel out. But that's enough of the little plugs here. We'll get that out of the way. Bit of celebration for us too. Let's get back to talking about GWS and talk about how we're winning this game, because this is something I wanted to cover. And the great Daniel Britton has hit us up with a question that kind of sums this up beautifully. He asks, what do you think will be the most important factor in beating GWS? Where is the game won?
I mean, do you? I guess I'm going to be hitting you with all these questions soon. So, I mean, I've already kind of said I feel like it's the defense. And look, maybe you need to humble me a little bit because I'm just feeling so confident this week. I'm feeling as I look all across the ground, I just feel like we're just better in every area. So, I know I shouldn't be saying that, but I don't know. I feel like we can win every area of this game, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah. We're capable.
No, and I mean, that kind of is what I'm thinking. Whereas I think last week that we were talking about, does it need to be the forward line? Does it need to be the midfield? It's
Yeah.
maybe a dumb answer, but going off last week, it's like consistency. Like we showed last week what happens when every single player on that list contributed. Even, I'm not potting him, but it's like probably the one that wasn't as impactful that ended up getting subbed in a Jack Silvani performed and did his role to an extent anyway. We weren't sitting there being like, oh my God, we need Jack Silvani out of this game. Every single person brought something to this team, whether it was tackle pressure, whether it was goals, whether it was distributing the ball, whatever it was, everyone brought it. And we were sitting back going through almost trying to name every single person that played. And I think if you look at our best wins, if you look when we've played our best footy, that happens. You don't have that bottom five struggling. So maybe that's it. Consistency in that bottom 5 or 6 are up there playing good games. I think that is kind of the key to winning this one because we think we're better and we kind of just have to make sure that we're not going too early. We're not thinking we're superstars. We've only had the one win. This has happened before to us. I think we just need to go out there and get the job done for me. That's kind of it. But I mean, I want to hear everyone else's thoughts as well. How are we beating GWS? What does this Carlton team have to do? Let us know in the comments and tweet at us, Instagram, all of that stuff at Navy Blue Corner. But now I don't have to throw you under the bus too much longer.
Oh, my favorite.
I'm throwing it out to the listener questions. It is the focal point of this episode and this show. The match build-up is all about hearing from you guys what you want to get us to answer. So, Lockie, your time for the run sheet.
Mate.
Hit me with some listener questions.
And it has been an avalanche of questions this week. So massive apologies if you sent us in one that we can't get to. It's always great after a win, isn't it? The engagement's just through the roof. Yeah. We love it. We absolutely love it, which means only the best can make it. And that's why the same question needs to be asked by 3 different people in order to make it. So let's lead off with that one because this was the number one question I had written down as well.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cruz, Sean Cox, and Blues Corp. Who plays on Toby Green?
Oof. It's an interesting one.
He's the danger man.
Yeah, it's hard because he plays a bit of mid, he plays a bit of forward. And previously, I know a few people in the questions. I actually had a look at them this week myself, which is unlike me. And a couple of people were saying, is this a week for Plowman to come in? Do we need someone to lock down? And for me, I'm backing the defense. I really liked what Sardi, I guess, did on Stengel last week. That he was kind of their danger man. You had a McGovern on a Gary Rowan that didn't really do a lot either. Back in our system, back in the defense, I think Nick Newman's someone underrated as well, who's played some really good footy in the first few weeks. Haven't really spoken about him too much, but he's been fine defensively and been doing some nice it's just been doing his job. 8 out of 10, all you can ask for. So
some of us didn't have him best 22, if I recall. I don't know.
And I'm happy.
Maybe a little Matt Kenny scenario here.
I think so, and that's what I'm asking for. I feel like that's the thing. If I say he's no good, he proves me wrong. But no, I think maybe it's a Sard or maybe it's just a by committee. I think we need to start maybe evolving past this. We need to bring down a shutdown player. We need to go against what we want to do and try and shut down their player. If we back in our system enough, back in the talent and what we're doing ahead of the ball, it'll hopefully take care of itself. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. Is there anyone that you're currently seeing in that team at all where you're going, I want this matchup or anything like that?
No, I really like that. Sard is the obvious one for me, particularly after last week. I was surprised to see Plowman's name come up so much in the questions. Like, for me, doing team changes this week, extremely hard because of how solid we were last week. So, yeah, we're not the only ones that, aren't Plowman haters. I mean, it kind of leads us into this question from Jackson Ray. Is Cowan playing the Plowman role, and should we be using him in a more attacking way? It's kind of interesting. Yeah. And there was a few questions kind of in that vein, like, are we missing that kind of more shutdown guy? But I guess, are you kind of saying we don't necessarily need that?
It's an interesting one with Cowan. I don't think he's been playing exactly like he's taken Plowman's spot, but he's not playing the Plowman role, if I can answer it that way. He's definitely not lockdown defender and not trying to attack. And that's probably the evolution of what I'm talking about, where we don't need that anymore. I feel like we can get if we can bring guys that have a decent defensive base but have an attacking option to their game, you're going to be better off rather than just 100% defender, particularly in the small defender aspect of it. And so I think we can still definitely get a lot more out of Cowan attacking from what I guess you saw at that under 18 level, but it's also it's difficult to know. Like he's stepping up to AFL and it's such a massive, massive jump. He's shown little glimpses of it, but it's such a hard thing to be that burst player and just run off players. It takes a bit to get to that level. So I think what we've seen of Cowan, I've been pleased with. And if he can keep moving towards that and be more attacking, then I'd love it and getting more out of him. But as far as probably my expectations so far is he's a tick for me. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, we had Shane Davis as well. Just asked Plowman in for Cowan. Yeah, I'm with you. I certainly wouldn't be. I think we've seen great things from Holland and Cowan so far. I don't think there's any reason to kind of shake it up yet.
No, I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, lots of these are kind of like team, like specific things, like as in team changes. I think this one is good though. This has been on my mind this week from Mark DT. Does JSOS need to change his mindset and get back on his bike as a lead up medium forward? He's one that we spoke about in the preseason. Like, what does JSOS's role look like this year? And he probably hasn't delivered as much as we would have hoped in these first two, I would say. Is that fair to say?
I think it is. And he's definitely one that this week he's been the storyline. I think if there's any Carlton player that I've noticed, apart from the ongoing De Koning contract talks, it's been what's going on with Silvani. I've seen a couple of people in the media mention he's out of contract at the end of the year and what's going on. And he kind of gets floated around a bit. And he definitely is, I hate to say it, but he's probably nearing that getting dropped in a way. And maybe that's highlighted because he was subbed out of the game. But when you look at the other smalls and how they'll maybe working together, you throw in a Jack Martin, knowing that the club do rate him quite highly and what he can bring at his best, whether he's ready or needs weeks in the twos, like I think we both kind of agree on before he comes back in. That's the kind of spot that's up for grabs, that half forward goal kicker kind of player. And it's tough for him because he's been so thrown around that second ruck. First week this is probably the first week against Geelong that he was being able to be a bit more of a lead-up player. I probably just got to have to persevere with it for another week and hope that he can get back to being that connector that worked so well for us. But I kind of agree. Like he either needs to kick goals or he needs to be setting them up, or his job starts to be under a little bit of pressure. But maybe he's also, I guess, to go the other way, he's kind of lucky in a sense that we don't have a lot of players in his position that can kind of come straight in.
Yeah.
Like the only player that I'll throw out a Smokey, he's injured at the moment, but would maybe take that spot of that work rate high half forward that can maybe hit the scoreboard as well as like a Matty Cottrell, but he's injured at the moment, so he can't come in. David Cunningham as well, maybe playing in the VFL this week. They're kind of maybe will eventually get there, but I don't know. Something needs to kind of change with JSOS at the moment. He's definitely been a bit down. Where were you kind of sitting with Silvani? It's a hard one to answer off only 2 weeks hard. And 1 week in the ruck, I think, for me.
There is also the two ruck situation that we spoke about as well. Like, is Pitt and TDK plus Harry and Charlie enough of that? Like, kind of taller-ish. You want to call Sauce tall? Yeah. Look, we'll talk about the team changes soon. He's certainly a candidate for me because you look at this team right now. It's like, God, this team is hard to get into, and we've got two guys that have to come in the next few weeks. So
it's rough.
Yeah. Love this comment here, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to be one line to wrap it up. It was literally we just need more output. That's all it is. Plain and simple.
Thanks, mate. This is my segment, by the way. On to the next one. Now, I don't know if this is your burner because it'd be weird to have the name Ian as your burner, but just a comment here that I liked from Hermans_head. There were a few supporters around Bay 50 trying to get the Carlton chant going, but not a lot were keen, including myself. I think a lot of us get tense and just want to focus. God, do I feel that? Yeah. I think I need to join the chanters, though. So people, they've heard your call, mate. You're starting a movement here with the...
Hopefully.
I like it. That's what I say. Yeah, give you a bit of love there. People are listening. They get it.
No,
They get
and
where
we
you're
did.
coming from.
We did get a couple of comments on that, and it's a tough thing because I know as well. I was trying to start something in that last quarter a little bit in my bay, but I was struggling. I almost had no voice. I'd blown my voice out pretty much at that stage, and it's hard. I don't necessarily have like a big group around me that I know, so I can't just go, boys, let's go in 5. Let's count it down, and we get the chant. It's like it's me, and I've got to hope everyone else does it. And so I understand it's difficult. It's you feel a lot of pressure to be the one that does it. And if no one goes into it, you can feel like a bit of an idiot. But if we can all be like, okay, we've got to do this, and start to even chat to the people around you at the start of the game, talk to your fellow baggers, and maybe if we all start to chatter, start to change this mentality, it's just going to be second nature that like GWS kick a goal and it's boys, let's get up and about, let's get the Carlton chant, let's get something going, and maybe something organically can build. Maybe there's a chant that happens that goes around when we need to fire up. I don't know. There's something in that.
I like it, mate. I like it. I'm backing you in. Good one from Mimi here. Bog. Do you have a rogue bog prediction for this week? Don't go safe.
I don't know if I have an answer for this. I weirdly was like, my one was probably Gov in a sense. Yeah,
good.
Or I was hoping like a Chera steps up and you're like, oh my God, Chera's got 30 disposals and superstar. But if I'm going rogue, mate, Motlop kicks 4.
Yeah.
That's the rogue best on ground for me.
Damn, that is rogue. That's more rogue than what I was going to say. Because there's a question here from our man, Mickey Ceravolo. Does Harry fire in front of goals this week?
Yeah.
Love it. Lock it in. Take a seat, Charlie. Give Harry a go, I reckon.
Well, this is honestly this is the best part about like the fan questions and getting you guys more involved because one, I don't have to write much of a run sheet, which is good because I'm a bit of a lazy individual. So it takes my job away from me. But pretty much all these questions were little things I wanted to touch on, and talking about Harry was something I wanted to do. So I'm glad Superbad has got onto that one pretty quickly. I'm trying to make it stick. We'll try and do something.
What it was. I was trying to think, I couldn't remember it. Superbad. Sorry.
He has to. Like I'm hoping that those last quarter where he started to get him in the big jukes, started to push up around the ground, the confidence builds. You see that clip after the game where Cripper goes straight to him and lets him know like what that meant in that last quarter. It's his time. They can both score, and he's getting his couple opportunities. Maybe hasn't taken them. I think it's about time, and what better way to do it in a big win against the Giants?
Love it, mate. Love it. I got nothing to add. And you were so right about this is why the questions is such a good thing to do on the show. So let's keep it going. There's so many questions about changes. Do you want to talk team changes?
Yeah, I've snagged a little listener question here. If we can go a bit rogue with one, if you don't mind.
Go for it. No,
one
please.
From Bo Quarrel, who asks, who will be a surprise best 22 player by the end of the year? And I like this one because we like our rogue. We like going niche. Who that you don't maybe expect is like, bang, locked in. Is it a Nick Newman for me who I didn't have in there? I don't know.
It's such a hard question. Yeah, I guess I could compare now to the start of the season. Like, I didn't expect to get this good output from Hollins so early, but I wouldn't have been surprised for him to be best 22 at the end of the year. Do you have an answer right now? Well, I think
I can think of one person. I'm not sold on it, but I guess off 2 games of football, maybe 1 game of football, this is maybe like the surprise. Maybe is it Matty Owies?
Oh, mate.
Because like if you look at it right now, neither of us have him there. We have the other 2 smalls ahead. Jack Martin, where is he? Cunningham, does he come back? Fisher's fine. He's good. He's good there. Silvani, we don't know what's going on. There's a spot in that forward line for someone.
Wow.
If Durden brings the pressure, if Motlop brings pressure, highlight reel, can do bloody anything, and then you've got Owies as the third pressure goal scorer that takes the marks in the forward line. If he's kicking a couple of goals every game, he doesn't have to kick 3 every week. But if the 3 of them have these different roles where I don't think either of them are like the same player, him being that goal kicker that we can kind of trust, it's a bit of a point of difference. And I don't know, he's
Yeah.
got a couple of weeks now to see if that 3 small forwards works and the dynamic. Maybe a Durden or Motlop evolve throughout the year can push up higher forward. I don't know. If I'm doing a surprise right now, he'd be the one that I still wouldn't even bet him to do it now. So that's your surprise, I think.
That's good. This is actually such a hard question because it feels like we've got such a defined group and like anyone that's just around the edges is not a surprise. Like anyone that comes to mind, I just can't sell it to you. Like Cunners.
Well, that's the one I was thinking there, but
who goes out
you
of
trust
that
his body
for that to happen? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. We're in a great position right now. Like I said, Sam Walsh has to come back into this team. It's going to be someone very unlucky to miss out then. Georgia Hewitt as well.
100%. But mate, let's get straight into the team changes. It's where a lot of the bulk of these questions came from. And I know a popular one, which is sort of going to kick these off. I'm taking back over the questions. Run sheet I've denied you access. I've taken that functionality out of the Google Docs. The team changes. It was from, and I'm going to botch some name pronunciations here because that is my.
This is why I run this part. But yeah,
exactly. So it is. It came from a few people, and the couple I have here are Jim Fiddler. This is bad. Sudi De Winter. I'm so sorry. Harrison Petkovic and Curtis Stamers. One of the two potentially. Let me know. Give me a phonetic spelling for next time because I can't read. But they've all asked the big one. If George Hewitt is fit, which we think he will be good to go, who comes out of a winning team? It's rough. It is rough because Pitt comes in, but we've liked the 2 rucks. So does someone else have to make way?
I don't think it can be one of the rucks. For me, I think Sauce is the obvious one because he was subbed and he's been a bit subpar. But then again, you like that? But then again, we loved what we saw from Ed at times during the game. But, we didn't feel like he was best 22 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And they're more of a similar kind of role. Like she'll just come straight in and takes those CBAs and everything. Oh, I don't want to fence sit though. So
where are you going? Oh, no. That's bad. Come on, mate. You've got to do it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hewitt misses, by the way. I'm not trying to be an oracle again. But this feels like the situation where there isn't like a really clear out where they're like, let's just make sure that you're okay and get another week. I'll say if it was me, I hate to say it, but Ed.
Yeah. Well, we're aligned, which I hate to say. I know I feel like I'm so anti-Ed, but then he does something good and I'm so like his number one fan. So it's harsh for me to take him out of his performance, but it's for all the reasons. It's okay. We're going the 2 rucks. I think you just back it in now. It looked good.
Me too.
We need Pitt in there. TDK needs a run. Let's try it. So who else? Well, Silvani, as you're mentioning, but then it's a different position. And so you kind of, for me, when George Hewitt comes in, it's Ed out of the midfield, which is where he played so well in there. And then you're kind of asking, well, are you going Ed as the half forward that can pinch it in the midfield, or are you going Silvani as your better forward? That's the question mark for me. And I kind of feel like we have enough in the midfield with Hewitt in, which makes me Ed out. And probably might be really a dumb thing to do. And this will go to our other question. So I'll sort of say this. I'll give my answer to this now. Yeah. And it's around the sub. If I want to sub, I feel like Lockie O'Brien needs to just go back to the 2s.
Yeah, I know.
Have some game time. I don't like just continually making him the sub. And if it's out of Silvani or Ed for the sub, I kind of like Ed more. We know his run. Yeah. He's fresh. He can play a couple of positions. I don't mind it being late in that game. And it's like, Ed, come on. Lift the spirits as well. You know how much the group love him. If he kicks a goal, if he gets involved in something, it'll lift the boys. So I kind of say, well, omit Ed, put him as the sub, as the impact over a Silvani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
It's
it's
rough,
so
though.
hard.
It's so hard to change that team. I feel like I'm you this week.
It's just, yeah, it's so hard when there's form, and it's like, yeah, making changes after a win, you don't a win like that particularly.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah,
Well,
no, you're right.
do you have any other team changes? I'm assuming you potentially don't, because you're
Oh,
struggling to make this change. But is there anyone else
yeah.
maybe pushing towards that selection or pushing towards that sub? We can also veer in that direction, and you can talk about your substitute player. Where are you kind of going for that fringe of this squad?
No, I mean, definitely. I definitely wouldn't be making any other change than that. Like Hewitt has to come in if he's fit. I mean, there's a comment here from P Crips 3 votes, who, I mean, we spoke about this kind of last week, but they said Martin needs to earn his spot. 2 weeks of VFL, and if oh my god,
here we go again. This is why
me and my reading on this show, and if he performs, bump him up to AFL. He's too inconsistent, and these types only seem to perform well in a contract year. I think there'd be some people out there that are like, oh, if Martin's healthy, bring him in. But for me, you don't mess with the smalls. Like, you take Owies out. No, you're not going to do that. Would you take
It'd be
Sauce out for him?
if it is, and I don't think Sauce has been bad enough that he deserves to be straight out for a guy that we haven't seen enough for. It's like the Hewitt one I can understand, because it's okay. He's like a second best midfielder that's healthy at the moment. Take obviously Sam Walsh out of that, so he's coming straight back in. Whereas a Martin, we've spoken about it. He needs time in the twos to just get confidence and knock the door down. Maybe it'll help him as well as a player if we're not just relying on bringing him straight back in. But weirdly, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe it's not this week, but the week after, because they just seem to always bring him in. They love what he can bring in.
Do.
I know everyone's super negative on Martin, and I am myself, but you just look at that Melbourne game. We were like the week before saying, well, I know I said on this pod, I'm over the Martin experiment. I don't really want to see, it's harsh, but I don't want to see him play ever again, because I'm just sick of the roller coaster of, is he good, is he not? And that is just doing my head in, rather than hating him and not wanting him in the team. Totally. Then he goes out and kicks those, 4 goals against Melbourne, and he's got that in his locker. But I think he needs to earn it now. We're good enough.
Yeah.
Where you got to earn your spots. You don't just come straight in.
Yeah.
But who's your sub, Lockie? Who are you chucking in as your sub? If you're taking Ed out, is it as simple as that?
Yeah, it is for me. I agree with you. Like, ideally, I guess Lob probably is the better sub, but I don't know. I don't want to do that to him again. 3 weeks in a row.
I'm also not sold that it is the best move. He's been fine.
Okay.
Maybe that first game he impacted it a bit more, but I don't know. I don't know if he's like putting in a winger doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like it'd be nicer to have a more versatile player.
For sure.
Like an Ed Kerno, because he can play on the wing if you need him to, but I think that's it. But that's kind of like team changes for me. I'd love to hear everyone listening to this, their thoughts. YouTube, in the comments. If you're on the streaming services, on the socials at Navy Blue Corner, let us know. I might even put up a little Instagram as well, a little story asking for your team changes, so I can steal those and listen and see what we've got. But I guess we'll go into some final thoughts before we get into the footy tips as well. We can reveal how we're going in that and go through that in our match build-up. But final thoughts, final questions. And this is what I was going to talk about early. Decide to save it for this little magic sweet spot. And it is, is this game just about a win, or are you looking for a certain performance or a margin to make you happy?
Oh, no. I mean, as we said off the top, I think it is about the performance more than the result this week. Like, I think if we get more of a round one, where's the game? Like, where's the game plan gone? 5-point win. I think you and I are going to be here not super stoked. Because we were sitting here after that game, and like I said on that show, if we'd managed to win this game, I don't know what positives we would have touched on. Like, we would have been there so negative in a win, and that's how I feel like I would feel if we don't get the performance. So, that's
it's insane. It's insane how much our expectations have changed. 2 years ago, if it was like, just get the win, just get it sorted. And now
I know
the bar's been raised. We need to be seeing more. And I agree with you. And I think a lot of fans feel the same, where doing what we've done the last couple of weeks, where we're up by a little bit and then we just hold on to win, kind of doesn't cut it. It can cut it against a team like Geelong or maybe even a Richmond, but GWS, it's about that performance. And I don't want to be having those question marks again of what team is Carlton. Are we good? Is it the Geelong game or are we the Richmond game? I want more assurity going forward about the players out there, about the game plan. And again, it's that mentality piece that we've struggled with when we're the underdogs and we're not expected to win. How many times do we perform? But it's when we start to get ahead of ourselves. It's that those. How many times has it been Gold Coast? Has it been North Melbourne where you go in going, yeah, sweet, we'll smash them, and we get done, and we just don't show up. And GWS, they've got, while we're probably showing them a bit of disrespect because of how they've been performing, but they've got match winners in there. They've got Cornelio, they've got Green. Kelly probably comes back. The other Tom Green's in the midfield as well. Like they've got players there that can do damage. Hogan's a decent forward as well that can kick goals. So you've just got to be on your game. It's AFL. You can't be switched off for 5 minutes. A team will beat you. And so we just have to, I hope the mentality's changed where the win gives us confidence, not arrogance, and we can just go out there and do it. So for me, it is about a margin. It's going on with a win. It's getting to that stage of 3/4 time and it not being close anymore. Probably the big thing that I want to see, that I kind of say for this section of this chat, was I don't really want GWS to be in this game at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to be nervous at quarter time, half time, it's just, no, the game's done. And that doesn't have to be a 200-point shellacking, as one of our listeners wants to see. It is just a consistent performance where you're just never nervous because it's always 20 or so points. Every time GWS kicks a goal, straight away we've gone back and kicked one. The margin keeps staying out.
So true. Win every quarter, that kind of vibe. Like just foot on the throat kind of energy. I'm so with you, and I'm confident that we are that team. I think the way that we've got to this position, like the players have to be humbled by the performances at the end of last year, round one. Like if they're feeling arrogant, like you suggested was a possibility, it's like that's insane. That is insane.
Yeah,
we've got that mindset. So
100%. Do you have any other thoughts or sort of questions or anything else you kind of want to discuss about this GWS clash, or any players leading into this?
I think this is one good question for us to touch on. To be optimistic and positive. From Mars MK76, how long can we, and maybe will we, is better for us, sustain 100%. Our unbeaten run in 2023? Put your name to it, as we like to do. We like to put ourselves out there.
I need to fix her up for this one.
When's that first L coming?
Hopefully it doesn't arrive. That would be unbelievable. But my AFL app is no good. Here we go. Let's show just Carlton. Let me get this out. Well, we're beating GWS. We're beating North. We're beating Adelaide. We're beating the Saints. We're beating West Coast. And then it becomes May 5. Round 8 against the Lions at home. And this is the one, like this, you can, if you've won all those, you can cop, a loss. But again, this is super nuffy hats coming on. Brisbane at home is a team I now want us to be beating.
Totally.
Like you look at what Port did at home against them and you're going, like when they're away from home, if you want to be and be pushing for that top 5, you need to be beating these teams that are perceived as top 5. So then you got them, then you got the Doggies, then you got Collingwood. Mate, it's round 11 potentially.
We haven't
Sydney
lost yet.
over in the SCG, because that's a tough one. So let's go round 11. Let's do it.
Yeah. But why? Yeah. Why not shoot for the stars? I'm with you. Round 11, we're going to be 9-1-1.
And it's not bad. Not bad.
How's that? We are the positive podcast. Look at us.
And speaking of trying to get some results and predict some results of football, let's go towards our footy tips. I'm pretty proud of that segue, I'll be honest. But you know what I'm not proud of, Lockie? Our footy tips. They've been pretty abysmal at the moment.
I assume we went 9 from 9.
We struggled, mate. We got 3 out of 9, which is an issue.
3?
Mate. we're struggling. We are now 268th out of 309. I don't know what's going on because I think I'm going to do this to you right now. I'm going to put the blame on you because currently at my work footy tipping, I'm like top 5 at the moment. I am going unbelievable. So I reckon some of your tips are a struggle because I got 5 out of 9 in my own tips. I got 5 out of 9. So we've got to turn it on this week. We've got to get a perfect score. Lockie, what are we going? Western Bulldogs, will they bounce back? Or are we going the favourites, the Brisbane Lions?
I need to go back and listen to last week's podcast. Did we say Port were going to win? Is that what we did?
I'm not sure I have that technology. Actually, I do have that technology. Do you want to go through?
Yes, because that's unbelievable to me because we obviously tipped Carlton. Didn't we?
I'm pretty sure we tipped Brisbane. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we'll move forward.
I'm going to audit this.
Yeah.
We can do this week's.
Who are we going? Doggies, Lions.
It's actually hard.
It is a tough one. Can the Dogs go 0-3? But they're so bad right now.
They are bad, but they're going to come out firing. I say Brisbane.
And do you like their team? Do you like their team changes at all? They've got Treloar back in there. Bit of run to that midfield. Right? Bevo's going to change things up. Darcy's out, so they're trying to get rid of let's just kick it to the 200-centimetre Giants.
You're in charge this week because apparently you're the master tipper. So I'm deferring to you. I would say Brisbane, but you can overrule me.
I think we've got to hope Brisbane can get it done. Yep. Doggies are in the mud. Doggies are in the mud. Collingwood versus Richmond. Richmond have pretty much had half of their team out, so I think the obvious choice there is Collingwood.
God, that would
Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. North to just keep the winning streak going in Tassie. I think you got to back him in.
Oh, mate. Those odds are shocking to me. I can't believe that they're $1.50 North. I think Hawthorn are going to win.
Oh, really? Are you backing Hawthorn? Are we changing it?
I think North going 3-0.
I don't think Hawthorn are a good football team.
They won 2 games last year, North, and they're going to go 3-0.
Do Hawthorn have LDU in their midfield?
Oh, God. But we have him in our super coach, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Look, let's go North because you're overriding this week, but just let the people know. Sam Mitchell's going to be angry.
I don't know who's going to be angry at because they don't have much of a team. Carlton versus GWS. We're back in the baggers, of course.
Do it.
Top of the table clash here. The Sainers versus the Bombers. Who are you going? The Sainers are favourites, which I didn't actually expect.
Yeah, I know. But again, Essendon are going to go 3-0. Oh, I hate
the Sainers without a forward line. Why are we doing tipping?
This is so hard. Yeah, I don't believe in any of them, in either of them.
No.
You go.
Oh.
You're the champion.
Oh, I hate this. The issue is I haven't seen basically either of these teams play football. Were the Sainers good or were the Doggies bad?
Oh, you would not have caught me dead watching that game, mate.
Well, let's back in the Sainers. Let's go Ross the boss. Let's back in. Let's back in our man Stocker over Setterfield. I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah,
that's the battle of the Carlton rejects. Which one?
That's a good way to put it.
Can do it for us. Port v Adelaide.
Yeah. Got to be Port.
The Prison Bars get it done. Gold Coast versus Geelong at Heritage Bank Stadium.
It's got to be. It's got to be the bounce back.
The Geelong. They can't go 0-3, surely. I think our issue was we tipped Gold Coast and Essendon actually showed up, which was
but no, that's fair. I think that's fair from us.
Oh, God, this may be the best round of footy as far as close games because you've got Melbourne versus Sydney. Oh, Melbourne?
No gone. Yeah, I guess you got to go Melbourne, don't you?
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard to back against them. At least
they've
Sydney
got
was going
to be
Grundy
dropping out this season, and they're top of the ladder. So
when Sydney Sweeney's rocking up at their ground, it's hard to lose. Last game of the round, Fremantle versus the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, I always feel like you like the Dockers. Are they? Is that a fair thing to say? Are you a bit of a closet Dockers man?
They are probably. They will, compared to most of the teams, they don't give me a reason to dislike them.
There you go.
I
thought so.
So compared to the rest, and I have liked some of their players, which is why
you're a Brayshaw guy.
I love Brayshaw. I like Sarong. So I think it's just I like some of their players. But they would be the second team that I would least be angry at. I suppose. Good read from But they got Lockie Schultz. So I mean that weighs them down big time. Big time.
Let's back him in.
Let's back him in. Under the pump. Get it done. Let's submit those tips. And
I can't believe it, mate. I'm shattered. I'm shattered because, I mean, the dominance that our Supercoach team has put out on the park so far,
mate,
just doesn't make sense with our tipping ability. This should be a Supercoach podcast.
It's about to become that because right now we are absolutely dominating. I will say that right now.
We genuinely are.
We can't lose. We don't lose. And I'll give you a bit of an update as well currently in this Carlton Supercoach League. We're top, mate. We've won. We won our first game.
Surprise me.
And our points total currently, we scored 2,299. The second team, the Blue Pod, doing quite well. 2,217. Mate, well clear. 80 points. That's a whole player. Mate, Leg Dog lagging behind there in third place. Only 2,200. Mate, get a couple of 99 in you. We're absolutely dominating this league, and I'm excited. We've honestly peeled behind the curtain again. We probably spent about an hour before recording this podcast going through Supercoach. So if the wheels fall off Carlton, but the wheels stay on our Supercoach League, his channel may revert and go towards a Supercoach channel because we're just dominating currently. But we've got to put that magic and put the research into the tips, and I've got a good feeling this week. I've got a good feeling.
Yeah, me too. So we're sitting, let me just get this up here, 1,378th overall. If we crack, what do we have to be for us to lead off next week's preview pod with Super's discussion? Would you say if we're top 500?
Top 500. 500. See, we're both on the same page.
Oh, yeah. 1,000, top 500. Whatever.
And we're spending an hour of the bloody match review talking about how well our Supercoach team did. And everyone will unsubscribe and we'll be down to 3 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. But that's okay because we'll have the 50K.
And then we've got the car, so it doesn't matter. But another thing I'm feeling very confident about is the Baggers, and they are going to go out there against the Orange team and they're going to wipe them off the floor. One of the most consistent performances you'll ever see. Harry kicks 5. Charlie kicks 5. It's going to be beautiful. But let us know your predictions. Let us know everything that we've covered in this show. Drop it in the comments. Get over to the socials at Navy Blue Corner. Like, subscribe, get all the plugs out there. Drop us a review if you're listening to this. We will read them out. We got one, and I'm going to save it for our match review because I know that's where all the listeners come into this one. So we're going to get them there. So you have time to leave us a 5-star review because that's it. That's the only caveat. If it's 4 stars, I'm not reading it. 5 stars, I'll read it live on the pod. But that's going to wrap this episode up. We're going to beat GWS. The Baggers are back. See you guys next time.